Good Packer morning, everybody. This is Brady. It is Monday. It's Monday. The week is ahead of us. I am, first of all, going to take a roll call. I've decided to go ahead and give shout-outs at the beginning because I don't want to miss them in the middle. So if you're joining me now, jump on. Let me know where you're from and give me a go pack, and we'll do some shout-outs. While I explain what we're going to talk about today, because last week sometime we had somebody jump on and ask me the question, what is going to be the toughest game the Packers face in the 2016 season, which was a great question, and I'm going to answer it in 4 parts is the way it's going to play out. We're going to answer it by quarter. So, quarter by quarter, what are the pivotal games by quarter? So who's with me today on this Monday morning? Man, it's sluggish out there. We've got, I guess there we go. We got some people coming on. Give me a go pack and let me know where you're from. Let's do roll call. And while we're doing that, I've got to give a huge Hugh McGurran. Wow, what a cool name. Hi, where you at? Where you at, Hugh? I know the Hugh part. There's a Velpeka Varela. I'm struggling with the names. All right, where you from? Go Pack, go. All right. Hi, everybody. Glad you're with us. We are talking about pivotal games quarter by quarter. But first, I want to give a big happy birthday to my mom, who is turning 70 today. So everybody jump on and say happy birthday, Mammy K, if you want. We got Jim is on. Go Pack from Newport Beach, California. All right. We got frozen land called Finland. All right. That's why I'm having a little difficulty with your name, probably, because I'm not too up on it. Hi, Kenneth, up in Cincinnati, Ohio. From Cork, Ireland. All right. Nice to see you, Daniel. Go Pack. We got Erica from Memphis, Tennessee, just down the road from me. Erica, I am up in Johnson City, so good to see you on board, and we hope to see you all the time. So, I thought it was a great question. Now, true confession, I couldn't find and can't remember who it was who asked me that question. So if you were the dude, I think it was a guy that asked me that question, jump on and just let me know. I'll try to give you a shout out for that. We got another Cincinnati, Steve from Cincinnati. Hey, there's a happy birthday, Mammy K from Dublin, Ireland. She's going to love that. Thanks a lot, Zoe. We got John from Cape Coral, Florida. I don't have anybody from Green Bay yet. Who are the Green Bay people or Milwaukee folks out there? There's got to be a bunch of them. Give me a shout. It was a great question, but the way I want to answer it is quarter by quarter, because we break these NFL seasons up quarter by quarter, and each quarter has it's almost like its own little season. And so for the first quarter, we're going to talk about what the pivotal game is, and I want to do a straw poll real quick because I think that this is kind of a no-brainer, all right? So if you agree with me that the Week 2 matchup, Packers against the Vikings at the Vikings' new stadium, is the pivotal game of the first quarter, just hit that thumbs up button, and let's see how many people believe that. Now, you're more than welcome to have an opposing viewpoint. The first game of the season is going to be a difficult one. It's always important to get, we got Kenneth saying Minnesota. We got Jordan from Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, here we go. The thumbs up are coming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, it's just jump on, give a thumbs up if you agree that the pivotal game is going to be that. In the first quarter is going to be that game against Minnesota. That's going to be a big game for them. They're going to be amped up for that game. And as we know, in terms of the NFC North Championship, the Minnesota Vikings, we have to admit, are the team to beat right now because they sit on the seat and unseated Green Bay at Lambeau last year. So that's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be pivotal. NFC North rival. Obviously, the rivalry between Minnesota Vikings and the Packers is one of those. It's not as long-standing as the Bears, but there's just about as much vitriol that goes into that one as any rivalry I can imagine. Yesterday when I was on, we had a troll jump on who was a Minnesota Viking fan. I just wanted to say, Packer Nation, good job putting him in his place. I jumped on and made a few select comments about having 13 world championships, having three-peated twice when no other team in the league has ever three-peated, period, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't believe that we heard from him after that. So we know how to take care of business. If somebody wants to, if Viking fans are more than welcome, fans from other teams more than welcome to get on and talk a little smack, that's fine. When it gets abusive and hateful, then this is our page, not yours. So Hi, Josh. There's a happy birthday to Mammy K from Josh. We got Jordan on, and I'm glad to see you guys. All right, so when I think about the matchup with the Minnesota Vikings, probably the best way I thought to sort of compare is to basically look at the Week 17 matchup last year and then kind of factor in the Packers and the Vikings sort of draft class in that. Of course, there's a lot more that's going to go into it. And especially in that Week 17 matchup, we had injuries had come into play for the Packers, also for the Vikings, because Linval Joseph was out for that game. So, but the best way I can see to look at the Vikings coming around this year, Week 2, is to look at what the Vikings did to Green Bay Week 17 last year. And that was a difficult game. It was one of those defensive struggles. It was a low-scoring game. The Packers' offense, I mean, it was 6-3 at the half, so the Packers' offense wasn't doing much. They attempted to stick with the running game, but as in every game, I've said this time and time again, every defensive coordinator's got the first priority one, no matter who they play, it's stop the run. If you can stop the run, then your defense sort of opens up. You sort of force the offense into a little bit of a corner, and it makes it just all that much easier to be successful on defense. Now, the Vikings, we know, and this goes into the answer to the question. It's a pivotal game. How are the Packers going to win the Week 2 pivotal matchup against the Vikings away for the Packers? Well, obviously, job one is stop AD. It's stop Adrian Peterson, period. Now, because here's the deal. The Vikings are turning into a pick-your-poison offense, much like the Packers are. The Packers have been a pick-your-poison offense for a long time, ever since Eddie Lacy came on the scene. And we saw what happened when Eddie Lacy was ineffective last year. The offense began to struggle because defenses started to have answers. And the Vikings are beginning to do the same thing. They've had Adrian Peterson, who is the premier back in this league as far as I'm concerned. I honestly have to have a lot of respect for how long he's been able to do it at this high level. And even though the circumstances of his suspension, I'm not going to comment on the circumstances of his suspension, I guess, because that's just going to open up a can of worms that I'm not interested in talking about on a Monday. However, the way he came back after that, fresh, rested, but also hungry, leads me to think, to have a lot of respect for his game, okay? I have a lot of respect for Adrian Peterson's game. And if you don't have a lot of respect, and just ask Clay Matthews and the Packers organization, because they focus first and foremost on Adrian Peterson anytime the Packers are playing the Vikings. Now, they did that effectively in the Week 17 matchup because Adrian Peterson had 19 carries for 67 yards, okay? And that helped the Packers stay in this game. AD did have the one touchdown, which was, again, another run where, frankly, our pad level was terrible on that play, and we should have had Adrian Peterson down on the 2, but we didn't. So credit to Adrian Peterson for breaking the plane, and it was a touchdown. But yeah, the Vikings are going to try to run the ball, and this we have known for years. As long as they've got Adrian Peterson, that's going to be what they try to do. However, what the Vikings were not able to do last in the Week 17 matchup, and it shows what they're going to try to do this year, is the Vikings, when the box was stacked, tried to play action and get the ball into the hands of receivers. They put the ball in Teddy Bridgewater's hands. You watch that game. They were intent on Teddy Bridgewater being successful and getting singled up on the outside against our defensive backs or coming underneath against a linebacker. And here's the issue. Teddy Bridgewater could not connect on those passes. Teddy Bridgewater had at least two opportunities for touchdowns early in that game and missed his target. Early on, he had McKinnon. He had I forget how long that pass play would have been, but it probably would have been 60 plus. And he overthrew McKinnon. But McKinnon had our defense in trailing position, and all the ball would have had to do is been put on the spot. It would have been a touchdown. Then there was another short out into the corner, the front corner of the end zone. He missed that one too. So there's two touchdowns right there that were basically handed to Teddy Bridgewater as our defense had to focus on Adrian Peterson. Now just think not only if Teddy Bridgewater starts to hit the receivers he's got, but they had a pretty nice draft as well, and bringing on Laquan Treadwell is going to make a difference on their offense. But it points to the mentality of the Vikings, and I think they're smart in doing that. Vikings had a fantastic offseason, and they're doing a lot to add an arsenal around Teddy Bridgewater so they don't have to rely on Adrian Peterson so much anymore. And they are also understanding that Adrian Peterson's time in the league is limited, regardless of how he is becoming one of those kind of ageless wonders, a bit like Julius Peppers is on our defense. But his time is limited, so they are going to try to take pressure off the offense and not have to rely so much on Adrian Peterson, because they see a lot of potential in Teddy Bridgewater, and I think they're right to do it. If Teddy Bridgewater gets on the same page with these receivers and gets hot, it could be, again, becomes one of those pick your poison kind of offenses. And that could be difficult for the Packers defense, which again goes to our biggest concern. And I think everybody is pretty much agreed on this. Our biggest concern on the defense being the interior front and our inside linebacker position. So hopefully the Vikings, they added Laquan Treadwell. They are adding to their offensive arsenal. They also, in I think the 5th, picked up another offensive tackle that could be deep for them. They have spent a lot of draft picks and a lot of money on their offensive line, and they've got Adrian Peterson, in that backfield. This offense is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Now, look at the offense that they played against last season, Week 17. It wasn't the show that the Green Bay Packers are going to put up. It wasn't the team that we're going to field in 2016. So I think that there's an offset there. I still think our offense is better. I think Eddie Lacy comes back, and if he just runs, if he returns to form and we get Jordy Nelson back, we are better. I would put AD slightly ahead of us in terms of the running back position, but gosh, when Eddie Lacy is on fire, he is a force to be reckoned with in and of himself. He's a different kind of back, so it's kind of comparing apples and oranges anyway. We are a different kind of offense. Their offense definitely focuses on the run. Our offense does not necessarily focus on the run. It does when it needs to, but we are an Aaron Rodgers-driven offense. The Vikings are an Adrian Peterson-driven offense, but they're trying to change that. If they're successful, that could mean they're very multidimensional. And look at the kind of 5 wide receiver set that the Vikings can put on the field against. Again, when we have, now we're going to have matchups with inside linebackers against a 5 wide receiver set. We struggled against that in the Week 17 matchup last year. Now, if we can get that fixed, again, if we can get the interior line fixed, one of the beauties of moving Clay Matthews to the outside is he is extremely disruptive against the pass. So if, say, a Blake Martinez comes in and can improve our pass coverage ability by linebackers and then allow Clay Matthews to stay on that outside on passing downs, then we are going to be able to handle the Minnesota offense. And I think we are going to have a good chance of winning that game because, frankly, we were able to stop the run. But again, when you put Clay Matthews on the offense, remember, he was the linchpin for us being able to stop Adrian Peterson as well. So there is again, it goes to our question mark this offseason. How is Kenny Clark going to do? How is Pennell going to do well, he's not going to be there for that game. So how are we going to do without him? How are we going to adjust? Is LaTroy Guion going to come on strong? I love Guion's attitude. I think he mirrors to me a Mike Daniels. So what is the answer to that question in the interior of our defense? That middle, as a question mark, always harkens back to how soft it was early on, a couple years back, when we had to move Clay Matthews to the inside. We have to improve in that area. And again, we did some things to do so, but we didn't. We will see. It's still a question mark. So, anyway, the Vikings are going to be a tough offense. The Packers are going to be an easily matchup. I mean, Vikings scored 20 last year in that matchup. The Packers, remember, are just a year away from being a 30-point a game team. So don't fret it too much. but we've got to get back to where we were. We have to return to form, the kind of offense that we've been running for, years untold. We've been knocking on the door of that 30-point average, and my brother and I here at GPN, we have been talking about it for years. Is this Packer offense should be averaging close to 30 points a game, and that puts huge pressure. That, for a team like the Vikings, that means that you can't just pound the rock for an entire game. What teams were able to do last year, because our offense was not as efficient, was pound the rock, keep Aaron Rodgers off the field, try to win time of possession, and then when we were on the field, the time of possession that we did have, we were not as efficient scoring the ball. And it ended up being a vicious downward spiral. And we all know how that went. But that's not going to be the case this year. So I do think and again, you can thumbs up if you agree, pivotal game of quarter one, Packers versus Vikings. We are going to, as they open their new field, their new stadium, we're going to shut them down is what's going to happen. Packers versus Vikings. Not going to make a prediction. We will make predictions when the game comes around, and that's going to be a lot of fun, especially because by then we'll have had a chance to see Kenny Clark get out on the field. We'll have had a chance to see Blake Martinez get some serious reps. We'll have had a chance to see how this Packer team is going to sort of come together and work together. So yeah, that's my big time matchup. I think I'll close it up with that. Obviously, we know that there's a little bit of a question mark on our defense, what it's going to look like. I think a lot of people are very excited to get our offense back together the way they're supposed to be. I've got Josh saying Blake Martinez, and I think that guy could win himself some serious play time. If he is as much of a tackling machine as he was in college, and he can cover out of the back, wide receivers out of the backfield, tight ends, et cetera, et cetera. If he shows ability in that, he could vie for some serious play time and get a lot of reps. So we'll see how that plays out. Well, that's going to do it for me today. I hope your Monday goes great. I thank you so much for liking and subscribing and following on Facebook. I really appreciate it. I look forward every day to talking to all of you guys. Like I said, we're hashing out the structure of the show, but every morning it's going to be roll call right off, and then I'm going to go into the show. So I just feel like I want to give you guys as much a shout out sort of focus as I can. And as soon as I get talking about the Packers, you're probably like me. It's hard to focus on anything else. So if you don't want to follow the show, you don't want to get live notifications every time I jump on, because I'm on every morning, same time. You feel free to unfollow. I don't want anybody to be forced into watching the show. I'm just getting on, talking about the Packers. It's informal. I want to have a conversation with you guys. But I do appreciate it very much. And so have a great day. We will talk to you tomorrow, and tomorrow it will be pivotal matchup quarter two. So if you want, you can jump on and let me know right now what your pivotal quarter two matchup is, and I'll take a look at those as I comment and beat down any trolls that might come on, and and take care of business as follow-up to this video. So have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you later. Happy birthday, Mom. Go Pack.